Welcome back, everybody, to Live Series with Jen and George. I'm Jen.
George, what's happening? What's happening? We're getting close to after dark territory. It's a little late on my end.
This is true. Yeah. Special pod for you guys. You're welcome. Putting in
Hey,
the overtime.
hey, for sure. I'm gonna make sure I keep it PG-ish. I'm gonna try, but
Is
what
this
we're
our
talking
first
about,
after hours? Because
it might have to be what we're talking about as well.
might be an after hours at. Mm, who's to
Tune
say,
in,
you know?
tune in and see.
Just
Don't
gotta
be a
roll
creep.
with it.
Whatever you do in life, just don't be a creep.
Preach, George, preach. Speaking of creeps, I'm gonna get right on
Mm.
in it. Ugh. We're going to talk about documentaries today, specifically the P. Diddy documentary and the Top Model documentary. If
Mhm.
you've seen it, enjoy the ride. If you haven't seen it, spoilers ahead, probably, and buckle up.
And they're both on Netflix as well, so you can
hmm
definitely check that out for sure.
Netflix doc. Yep. Yeah. If you want to start with creeps, we can start with creeps and just dive into the Diddy. Did he do it? Yeah, I think he did.
Mm, wow.
It's
All right.
it's,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
late. The
All right.
brain is not functioning like it normally does. It's gonna get
Did
weird.
he? Indeed. Oh man, yeah. It was phew. It was definitely a watcher. Um, it was it was definitely interesting. Like there were a lot of accusations thrown out there, like so it's hard to tell what was true and what wasn't true. And the fact that like 50 Cent was like the executive producer adds a definite like troll level kind of thing to it that like if he wasn't involved in it, it would probably be like probably more like, all right, this is like legit, but because 50 Cent is involved, it feels a little trolly, but who knows?
It's trolling at its best, though. I don't know if you've seen some of the
Yeah.
interviews he's done since. He is trolling him hard right now.
Yeah.
I'm kind of here for it because I think it's not funny, but kind of funny. But to have that level of pettiness to just go all in is a new level. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying watching it play out. Diddy's not enjoying it play out, but I
Exactly.
am.
I'm sure he does not find this. From what I learned from the doc, he seems like a very petty man, and I myself can be a bit of a petty man. So yeah, when you're a petty man like us, you don't think anything is funny like that. So I'm sure he doesn't think it's funny at all.
This is true. Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and from what I learned from the doc, kind of a dangerous guy. Who would have thought? Like
Very true.
the you learned a lot about Diddy and some of the stuff I knew before watching it, some of it I did not. But they
hmm
really break it down from like his childhood in episode one all the way to the trial. So they'd actually like do a really good job at documenting his life from start to where it is now.
hmm
You learn a lot of really different things. Away from like all the creepy stuff, about, a lot of the allegations from different women and, different people, like outside of all of that stuff, it's actually a pretty good documentary about like, especially like early hip hop. And the first episode was really good about like Uptown Records and all that. And all that stuff was really cool, to
hmm
see Jodeci and Heavy D and Mary J. Blige. But it definitely had some nostalgia for me, for sure. But
hmm
then it was like, the lady came with the first claim and was like, "Oh, didn't see that coming."
Yikes.
There, there was a lot of that, like, whoa, okay,
A lot of the.
like, because yeah, it would go like that's why I was saying there's like a little bit of troll to it because it would go to be like talking about like his upbringing and like his mom, and then it would be like, then he hit a lady with a champagne bottle. Whoa, like okay, like the way it was edited was just kind of like, man, this guy sounds like a maniac. But it would
Hmm.
like flip from like telling you this really nice story, and then it would be like, and then he tried to kill Kid Cudi. Wait, what? He tried to blow up Kid Cudi. Wait, what? P. Diddy tried to kill Kid Cudi? It would just be like some of the stuff is so like over the top that you don't really know when you're watching the doc what's real and what's not real.
Hmm. Well, and especially our age difference might come in a lot here because I was just a young buck when, like the
Mhm.
Tupac and Biggie. I
Mm,
I knew like what happened, but didn't like know what happened until
mhm,
I don't know, just a few years ago when I started getting into all the hip hop and rap and stuff like that. But yeah, so for me, seeing it not with fresh eyes, but kind of like a young buck I am that I
mhm,
didn't get to see all that play out when it was happening because, I was learning how to roll over.
mm.
So it was,
Indeed.
I feel like it's very like, it kind of makes it one-sided. So it's like, that's kind of all I really know about it, except for like what happened. But seeing the footage, I don't even know how he came across this footage, but seeing that footage, it was really interesting. And I was like, don't mess with Diddy. Shoot.
Yeah, this is definitely where our age shows because you probably weren't alive and kicking when he was Puff Daddy. So it took me a really long time to stop calling him Puff Daddy because that's how I knew him. I was a really big Notorious B.I.G. fan, and even before that, I was a big like Heavy D and I'll Be Sure fan. So I knew Puff Daddy. I knew who he was. It was just like he was just he was a guy. Like he wasn't like he was the guy that you always kind of saw, but he was just kind of like Puff Daddy. That's a stupid name. And why is he always dancing? What is this? You like no one really thought of him. So it was pretty incredible when you go through the doc and they talk about the rise of essentially him becoming Puff Daddy to P. Diddy, because those are two different people, essentially, to me. P. Diddy
Mhm.
is a superstar. Puff Daddy was just a guy with a bad haircut who was always dancing in videos. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
all right, that's the guy. And he, like, all everyone who listened to rap knew he was a trash rapper. And it was like he became better, but when you first heard him rap, it was like, oh, this guy's terrible. And then when he kept talking about his album coming out, it was like, why is he having an album coming out? Puff Daddy and the family. Oh, nobody want to hear that shit. Like, yeah, it was a real thing. Like, people just was
Hmm.
like, why? Who? Why would I want to hear him rap? Like, I guess it would be like hearing Flavor Flav rap. Ooh, that's a definite like throwback right there as well. Shout out to Flavor Flav. I dressed up as him as Halloween one year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Flavor Flav.
Oh, oh, I didn't see that coming. Bingo. You want to talk
You want to
about
talk about
reality?
good TV? Yeah.
Good.
There you
Oh
go.
man, one day wait till they see our Flavor of Love podcast. Boy, that's gonna be something. Now you're thinking the Flavor
Don't
of
get me
Love
started because I just saw a video on Instagram or something about an episode, and
Flavor
I
of
won't
Love
get
was
into that because
wild,
that'll be so derailed. But you want to talk about reality TV at its
man.
finest?
It was wild. You know, that
Crazy.
was a thing too. Like a lot of people, depending on when your age and when you're checked in, you might know him as Puff Daddy. You might know him as Diddy. You might know him as the dude from Making the Band. Speaking of reality, like he was doing reality shows with Making a Band when reality shows were really, really like you could become a superstar from reality shows. I mean, Kim Kardashian became a superstar from reality shows. Like you could be one of the most famous people in the world, and then once your reality show went off, it was like, who? It's like Andy Milonakis, who?
Yeah.
But he was huge on MTV. He was a huge deal. And
Mhm.
like Tom Green, like all these people who had these kind of weird, wacky shows on MTV were superstars because of MTV. And making the band was a huge deal. And those nobody from those TV shows necessarily became like super famous, but at the time, especially if you were in high school or like college, oh yeah, like all that making a band stuff was huge. Even like I think one of the very first ones they did did not the one that Diddy did. They did the boy band one. Do you remember? I think their name was like O Town or
Oh,
something like
town.
that.
Yeah.
And they were huge, man. It was like all
To
those groups
throwback.
were very, very famous. And it was like,
Mhm.
and Diddy was, that's when he became famous to, I think, more and more people. Because a lot of people knew who he was, but when he became making a band, then that's when he became huge. That's when he really became Diddy. And he wasn't P. Diddy or Puff Daddy anymore. He was just Diddy.
Wild times. And where was
Oh,
J-Lo in this documentary? I'm just
yeah.
saying. I would have. That's
Um,
kind of when I like
yeah.
really knew who
Oh, yeah,
Diddy
yeah,
was. When I'm like, ooh, J-Lo. Okay, okay.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Diddy was huge, man.
Hmm.
And it's like you don't really think about like all the stuff that he got involved in. Like I just kind of forgot about it. Like I kind of forgot about the whole shooting at the nightclub and even back in the day, the thing at the celebrity basketball game where like 10 people died. It was just kind of like, and he did some shady stuff. Like the reason why he didn't put his record label in his name is because he thought he was going to get sued by those people who died. Like, wow, that's super shady. Because I
Hmm.
didn't I didn't know that. That was new information to me. It was like, ooh, that's a really shady thing to do. And
Hmm.
he was involved in a lot. He might not be a shady person, but he was involved in lots of shady things. And it was like always like you can think, oh, he's not a violent person, but violence always seemed to follow him in a way. And
Hmm.
it was just kind of like, "Ew, all right, what is going on?" I guess I just didn't, because a lot of the stuff happened like back in the early 90s and mid 90s. So you just kind of forget about it. And then it was
Hmm.
just like you watch a documentary like this and you're just like, oh, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. It was crazy to watch all of that and just like,
Um,
ooh.
yeah, even like some of the stuff like, Diddy was what the young people call a dirty Mac. He was into the dirty Mac, and so he was always after people's like current girlfriends and ex-girlfriends, and it was just kind of like, man, this is this is weird. The one of the like most like cringy things in there was when Aubrey O'Day from what was the name of that
Kennedy
group?
Kane.
Danity Kane? Yeah, yeah. When she was reading those emails, it was like, ooh, God. It just made you just kind of go, ooh. It was just
Mhm.
really because it's like he's older than her and he's like and he was her essentially her boss, so it's like I'm not gonna quote what she said, but you should go watch it, doc, and hear what some of the
Mhm.
emails that you were reading. It was quite the gross stuff.
Mhm. Don't be a creep, people.
Man, he was
It's gonna
definitely
come
a
out,
creepy dude.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I don't think what he was doing was necessarily illegal. But he did a lot of things that just didn't get reported, I think, is what the thing is with Diddy. Like, a lot of people didn't really go to law enforcement in that way, or he like paid them off. Because yeah, I remember the Nas "Hate Me Now" thing. This is where our age and what we were into is going to show up. You don't remember that, right? So Nas did the song with Diddy, "Hate Me Now," and in the video that Steve Stout did, they're both like essentially dressed up like as Jesus, and they're being like crucified in the video. And this was a huge deal for the video. And then I think Diddy ended up getting his part where he was crucified removed, and then it was just Nas on the cross. But Diddy beat up Steve Stout. I remember that.
Mhm.
Him and like three of his goons went in there, hit him with like a champagne bottle. He always had access to a champagne bottle, which was odd. Like what if you're going to go into someone's office and kick their ass? That wouldn't be my weapon of choice. Like give me that champagne bottle. But if you ever
And
have a
keep it
champagne bottle,
fancy.
yeah, you can whoop somebody's ass with a champagne bottle for sure. It's just like, what a weird choice of weaponry. Like, somebody hand me that champagne bottle. I'm gonna whoop his ass. Like, all right, okay. You could have used like a bat or something a little bit more aggressive, but he wanted to keep it classy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a big deal. And Steve Stout, I think, like sued him, and I think he won. I think he like ended up paying like 50,000, $60,000 or something, and then it was like, oh, okay, it's fine.
Hopefully
And
get out.
that was a lot of that with Diddy. He would do these like crazy things, and then would be like, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah. Like even the nightclub shooting, it was like, because it's like Shine went to jail. Shine was like a new up and coming like hip hop artist. He was huge. And then he went to jail for 10 years or something like that for that shooting in the nightclub. And it was like, damn. It ruined his I mean, it didn't ruin his life, it changed his life, I would say. It shines like he's some kind of like political figure in like Panama or something like that.
Hmm.
He never really rapped again. He raps a little bit here and there, but not really.
He's
But
like, I'm good on this.
he was a huge star, man. Shine was a huge star. So that nightclub shooting was just kind of like changed everything. And he went to jail, and Diddy did a bunch of songs about J-Lo that were huge songs. So that "I Need a Girl" song came out after he got out of jail, and it was like, or yeah, that he was Diddy, man. He was just shady things would happen, then he would just be out there dancing. I think it was just more
To
his
sum it up.
persona. Like his persona is the way that got him out of trouble. It's like if you're a predator or you're just like a really shady person like that, your persona and the way you're perceived has a way of getting you out of trouble. Like if Bill Cosby was a much more aggressive dude, he would have went to jail years ago. But because he was America's dad, it was like, he's fine. And just like Diddy, if Diddy was a much more aggressive rapper, oh, he would have went to jail multiple times. But because he was just, oh man, that's just Puff Daddy. He liked to dance and wear shiny suits. He's not a thug, even though he's always involved in these thug-like activities. People always seem to get shot or like very violent things would always happen, and it's like, hey, weren't you there? Nah, man, that wasn't me. I was just chilling. I just happened to be there. I mean, I mean, that's what can you say,
Sometimes trouble follows you. Sometimes you create it, sometimes it follows you.
If shady things are always happening and you're always happening to be there, it can't be an accident. You know what I'm saying? Like there are
Hmm.
people who are always getting shot and getting beat up and like very violent things are like, hey, weren't you there? Yeah, I was there, but bad luck. But you yourself never get shot or never get beat up, but you're always there when things like that happen. So it's kind of like,
Hmm.
I, I think like one of the more interesting elements of that doc is they were pretty much alluding. or pretty much downright saying that Puff Daddy killed Biggie and Tupac. So, or at least he's connected to both murders, is pretty much what they were saying. They didn't like say it 100%, but they pretty much was like, if you do the
I think
math,
I think 50 was laying it on thick. Like, no, he didn't. He did.
like, man, he think he's there. He was there, and it's
He's
just a
always there.
coincidence.
He's
He's
always
always
just walking
there.
away like, nope.
Yeah, I just happened to be there in both of these situations. Like
Mhm.
coincidence.
Mhm.
And then he never gets in like legal trouble either. It's like even now, like what he got like accused of, he had the potential to go to jail for probably the rest of his life. And he's gonna probably be out of jail in the next probably like few years or so. So it's like everything is always kind of like, like wait, what is happening? Is his career over? I don't know, actually. Is he going to come out of jail and still be Diddy? Maybe. And but the climate of a lot that's something we're going to talk about in about the next documentary too, just how different the climate is now versus
Mhm.
when all these things were happening, and just how like different people feel about different things. I think all the violent stuff he probably could have got away with and all that, but all the stuff with Cassie and all the like sexual stuff and even the video of him like beating her up and all that, I don't think he's gonna be able to recover from all that kind of stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because it's gonna be, I don't know, it's just gonna be weird, because once people start making jokes about like, baby oil and all that kind of stuff, it's just kind of like it's hard to come back from something like that. Because then it's like,
Mhm. Well, and
depending
there's
on
so
your
much.
age and like who's the consumer of music. Most consumer of music are younger people. And Diddy's almost 60 years old. So it's like, well, to them, you're the freaky man. You're not like, you know, Puff
Hmm.
Daddy, the like music star, you're that now to a certain generation of people,
Hmm.
especially if you're like a younger person and you're watching this documentary, you're looking at it with your like young eyes thinking, this guy's a piece of shit. So you don't have that same connection, like, oh, that's just Puff Daddy. You're looking at him like, nah, this guy's a fucking animal. And it's kind of like,
Yeah.
he never
Things are
had like
changing.
he never had like a huge like music career in that way himself. Like he would be, he's always been around like really talented people. Like the first time I seen Usher, it was with Diddy, and he's even in, I believe he's in the video, in the doc, they showed him in that Usher video. I forgot all about that song where he's driving that one gang leader's car that he claimed that he didn't know. It's like, that's my car in the video. I don't know that guy. Well, how do you have his car? People get cars all the time, friend. I'm like, yeah, wow. And it's kind of like there was a lot of, it was just like there was a lot of inferring in this doc and like you personally connecting the dots. And you can connect certain dots to certain things. And
Hmm.
it's like, and a lot of his music didn't really hold up all that great anyway. So it's like, oh, if you're not like nostalgic for Diddy, it's like, So I think his music career and stuff like that might be done at this point. I think,
Oh,
but you never
Diddy.
really know.
You never know, but yeah, I think especially with how times are changing and the cancel culture, if you want to call it that, I don't think he might, but I don't think he can recover from that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This
So,
all the stuff with Cassie is just terrible.
hmm.
And it makes it worse too when you do these things to a famous person. Like Chris Brown. The Chris Brown and Rihanna thing was such a long time ago, but people still bring it up like, hey, I remember when you were beating up Rihanna. And it's like he can't escape that because she's famous, and you can argue that she's more famous than him. So it's like you just can't get away from it. There are certain things that you can do that you can bounce back from, but like being violent toward women is really hard to bounce back from, as it should be, you know. So it's like there's going to be people who are going to remember him for all the stuff with Cassie and not going to remember a thing about his music for sure.
Hmm. Yeah, crazy.
It's an interesting documentary, but it is a
Hmm.
little difficult to talk about because it's like there's parts of it that are actually kind of funny and it'll make you laugh, and then it'll be like things like would get really serious like really quickly, and it's like, oh, that's definitely not funny. So it's like trying to get the balance. But I think 50 Cent did that on purpose when he produced it to make it like almost trolly like. He definitely trolled. There's some trolling in this for sure, where it's like a lot of implications were made in this. There even seemed like to be people who were implying that he was a homosexual. So it's like there's a little bit of everything in there. The craziest stuff to me was that he tried to kill Kid Cudi and he like blew up his car. I remember hearing that like when all the Diddy stuff first happened. And I remember hearing Kid Cudi tell the story. It was like, wait, what? Like it just seemed like two people who you would not necessarily associate with each other. It was like, yeah, man, Diddy tried to blow up my car. Is this real? Kid Cudi? You try to kill Kid Cudi? What a like weird like beef to have.
Yikes.
It's something.
It's
It's
a bit of a
definitely an interesting doc, and I think it's definitely worth a watch. And just kind of watch it and just I guess try not to have an opinion one way or another, and just watch.
yeah, fair.
I mean, it's gonna be difficult though.
Don't be petty either. Oh, yeah,
Huh?
yeah,
Diddy's a very petty man. I learned that about him. Very petty.
very petty. You know.
Somebody's got to be.
Well, let's transition into the top model
Speaking of
documentary.
petty,
There it is.
yeah.
That was, and this is, I understand why they did it, and especially watching it back, it's like this was a train wreck of a show. But back then,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that is what was, that's what got people to watch. That was
Mhm.
reality TV.
Yeah.
And kind of what they said in the documentary is like, that was kind of the fashion industry. Did they over exaggerate it and make it more crazy? Yeah, but hi, reality TV. So watching it, train wreck. That was kind of a reason I did like watching it though, is because Tyro is so out there and I want to say silly and goofy, but like watching it back, I'm like, well, it's kind of cringy and
Mm-hmm.
like not the most mentally stable in some aspects. But like back then, it was that was good TV. And there
Oh
were a
yeah.
lot of clips from the documentary where I'm like, I remember that and thinking this show is gold. A lot watching it back. It's like that was not great, but again, different times.
Yeah. I think a lot of our interactions with reality TV have changed dramatically.
So
Around the
much.
time of Top Model in the early like 2000s, late 90s, reality shows were still pretty new. Like the
Mhm.
first Real World came out in like 1992 or something like that. So reality TV shows weren't really out there like that. And when they were, like, everyone took reality. It was always reality with commas around it. It was just kind of like no one really took it that seriously. Like, you took every reality show with a grain of salt. Like, especially a lot of the like MTV reality shows, they were just none of them were like very serious in their tone, and like there were a lot of dating shows like Your Flavor of Love, and you had stuff like the Osbournes that were really popular, and Survivor was really huge at that time. And so it was like when Top Model came out, there was nothing like it. There was nothing you could compare it to. It was just kind of like, again, like, I remember Tyra Banks, and she was a huge deal. Like, I remember when she was on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and when I was a young creepy dude, she was on oh man, she was on the cover of that Sports Illustrated magazine in like 97 or something like that. And I was in like elementary school, and we were passing that thing around. It was like everyone was listen, we were all in a huddle one time in on the playground looking at that like, whoa. You know, everything just kind of changed, and like the accessibility to people changed. Like in Top Model, like, like look at somebody like Kai Cenat, who does like having a camera follow him around 24 hours and doing stuff like this. It's just kind of like, it's just so normal now to have cameras follow you around. But at that time, having cameras follow you around was really unusual. And you didn't really see models like Victoria's Secret models and all that. You saw them on the runway, but you never really saw like a young model. So when you saw models already, they were already really famous. And being a model, now models are like model slash something. Like, I'm a model slash influencer. I'm a model slash basketball player. But back in the day, especially in like the 90s and the 2000s, you could just be a really famous model. You didn't do anything except model. And it was just kind of like people just knew who you were. Like Tyra Banks, like Tyson Beckford, like a lot of people just knew who you were. And so, and just kind of like when it comes to body images and the way they talked to women, I was around the similar-ish age to a lot of those models. And yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how like it was. I'm not saying it was right, but that's just kind of how it was. Like back in my day, it was like you were either skinny or fat. There was no like in between. Like, you could be like, a big
Well, and
muscle
it's still
guy, but
kind of
it's
to an
yeah,
extent like that. It's just
yeah,
more like we're more accepting. And now it's like
yeah, oh yeah.
you're so brave because
Somebody,
now you're a plus size model. It's like there's
yeah, oh
still
yeah,
kind of that stigma to it. It's just like they just kind of amplified it and put it in your face and
yeah.
showed it how it was.
Somebody like Lizzo probably couldn't have existed back then because it
Hmm.
would have just been like, you're overweight and unattractive. Go away, please.
Hmm.
Because, or you would be expected to be funny. If you were like not fat and funny, then you were just kind of like useless. Like, even, and I mean, that was even like that with men. Like, I, people always assumed that I was like funny. It's like, well, why would you assume that? Well, because you're a big guy. Okay. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Like, okay. Like, but if you think about it, like all the big guys who were around in the 90s and 2000s and all that, they were always big and funny. Like, oh, Chris Farley, or like, like Big Black from Robin Big, or it was like all these like guys were always funny, and like they were never like considered to be like sexy or attractive. Like people weren't looking at like, I don't know who could. People weren't looking at like Cedric the Entertainer and going, yeah, hell yeah. But it was like if you look at some of the models, some of them weren't necessarily attractive. They were just really skinny, and
Hmm.
that was like the prerequisite. And you look at some of these girls back on that show. There was a thing that doesn't really exist anymore, but at the time it was called cocaine. Like it was called like heroin chic,
Hmm.
and that's when you had to be as skinny as possible. Like you would bend over and you would see like all the bones in your chest and all that, and people would look at that and be like, "Hell yeah!" It was never for me personally, but I knew a lot of girls in high school, especially who were dying to look like that. Like they used to get like different things. That's not really like the aesthetic. I think once Kim Kardashian became a big thing and J Lo, you saw the more like, you know, okay, you can be like more curvaceous and whatever, whatever, and it changed and it became to be more acceptable. But if somebody who looked like Kim Kardashian would have tried to go on Top Model, they would have told her she was fat. Like, you need to lose about 25 pounds. Like, damn, she's like 5'2". Like, she's a little person. But it was like,
No,
they,
that was the times.
things change. Things definitely change for sure. Some of those episodes I do remember seeing, and you look back, I remember at the time some of them were just like, boy, what is this?
Wow.
Whose idea is this? I'll
Hmm.
never forget the changing the race one. That was the one I remember like, what the fuck is this? Like, oh, today, Jennifer, you're gonna be black. And they like did the brown face and the black face, and I think they made the one black girl on the show like Chinese or something like that. It's just like
That was
this
one.
is a bad idea. Like I remember watching it at the time and thinking, because I had a girlfriend who was really into Top Model, and I'm like, what are you watching? I walked in the room and I just see some white girl with a face plate in black. What are you watching? It's Top
Hmm.
Model, man. Like,
Different time.
wow. This is not great. They would never do something like that now. They're
No.
pulling the plug on the whole TV show. You do that now. Just even
Mhm.
saying it to people, they would be like, you can't do
Yeah,
that.
no.
Like, we're gonna paint your face white. No. But that's just how reality shows were at the time. It was like
Hmm.
y- people thought they were going to go on these reality shows and it was going to change their life and they were going to be the next, famous person. Some of the most famous people from like Top Model or like American Idol are people who didn't even win. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I remember the first winner of Top Model because she was from Joliet, Illinois, and I haven't seen her in probably 20 years. And the last time I remember seeing her was she was on some reality show with the guy from the Brady Bunch because they were married. And it was just kind of like, oh, okay. All that top model stuff really paid off now. Now
Yeah.
you're no more cover girl for you. Now you're hanging out with the Brady Bunch guy. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, it's
yeah.
like if you watch any show from back then, it's like even shows that are so like Saturday Night Live, there's so many episodes that like you can rewatch now and be like, how did they get away with putting this on TV?
Hmm.
But it's like not that all of it was
Oh, for sure.
should have been done. But it's like back then, it's like people just wanted something to watch. And so they're like, this is weird. Let's put this in there. And they're like, all right. And people just watched and like, huh. But now it's like, and I think in the documentary they said it's because COVID, people were binging this and they're
Binge
like,
watching,
how
yeah.
is this? How did they air this? It's like, well, they aired a lot of stuff that would not fly today. It's
Oh
just,
yeah, for sure.
we just wanted
You
good
know,
TV, good or bad.
so like they mentioned it in a documentary, but yeah, once the thing at the Super Bowl happened with Janet Jackson, shout out to a previous episode we did about the Super Bowl performances. But
Nice,
yeah,
nice,
once that happened with Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake, it changed everything. Because
nice.
now all of a sudden it was just kind of like you had people like calling in and complaining in a way that they didn't really complain before. So it just changed everything where it was just kind of like, oh, you can't do that. You can't say that. That's when essentially cancel culture really started back with the Janet Jackson Super Bowl thing. And it was like people made a really big deal about that at the time, but there was a certain person who made a big deal about that at the time because it was like to see a woman with her boob out with a pasty over it, it wasn't really a huge thing. If you go back and look at some of those MTV awards, it used to get wild. Little Kim is infamous for the one dress that she had. I don't even know if
Mm-hmm.
you can call that a dress. Her whole boob was just out. And it was just kind
Mm-hmm.
of like everyone was just like, all right,
Award
you
shows.
know. Rose
Yeah.
McGowan had the one that was like all chains, and her whole ass was out. You could see like even when I was a kid, I remember seeing Prince at the MTV Awards, and his whole ass was out. So to see like people just kind of out being kind of naked and just kind of showing their literal ass was like people just didn't really care in that way. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like, oh, all right, okay, okay. You go back and look at some of the things that people wore at those award shows. You think
Mm-hmm.
that Champagne Royale's outfit was wild. Woo! Shout out to the previous episode. Chaperone, you
Champagne.
know,
Mm-hmm.
you see her outfit and you think, wow, that's wild. But there were some wild things that people wore. Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember the J-Lo outfit where she wore the Grammys. I think she was with Diddy when she wore that dress. That was like there was almost nothing to that dress. And then the guy from South Park wore the same dress like years later, that Versace dress. And it was disgusting to watch, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just kind of like that's just the way people looked at bodies and the way people just kind of viewed sexuality. It changed like with the Janet Jackson thing, and it was just kind of like, oh, okay. All of a sudden, I think people just became more like prude in a way that got weird, and it was just kind of like, hmm.
Well, and
And
it
it's just
could be
kind of,
too, because it's like the Super Bowl. It's like you have such a big mix of people watching that. But
mm,
if like you're watching MTV, it's like you kind of know what you're watching the
yeah,
Super Bowl. You're like, no, I just want like good family. I just I want a concert. And so like then you see that and you're like, how? No, So it could just be like you get the wrong person to see it, and then people are more aware, like, well, they're doing that all day, every day on MTV or VH1 or and they're
yeah.
like, you know, it was a different
Always,
time. It was
yeah. People have changed. A lot of people have changed in that way, where it's just kind of people have kind of gotten the stick up their ass and they never took it out. Like
Mhm.
even with the whole like Bad Bunny thing, it's like he doesn't even speak English. When I was a kid, the Macarena was one of the biggest songs out. Not a word of English in there. And it's like, oh, that's just a one-off. There's a song that was huge in the 80s, 99 Luft Balloons. Guess what? That song is not in English. And that song used to play all the time. And they did the English version and no one liked it. So they went back and started playing the other version.
Mhm.
Like, there's always been like songs and stuff
Well,
that
even
were in
kind of
another
like,
language.
I don't even know if it's that recent. I don't know, but like Gangnam Style, it's like
Yeah,
that
oh
was
yeah.
huge.
Yeah, not a
Nobody knows
word of
anything.
English.
No.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with it wasn't in English. It was just people
Oh,
wanting
yeah.
something to
People were
complain
just
about.
weird. And I think people who are complaining about like the stuff on Top Model are looking at it in the lens of 2020 or whatever.
Hmm.
But you can't watch TV like that. Like, this is so offensive. Well,
Especially the
it's,
older you get, like the older like
yeah.
that it came out. It's like it was so different back then.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, have you ever seen the Janice Dickinson show that she did? The Dickinson model agency? If you thought that she was unhinged on Top Model, she was off the chain on her show because her
I didn't
son
watch it because I
helps.
didn't like her on Top Model. And I'm like, no,
She was,
I just didn't watch it.
it's incredible
Mhm.
how much like when you saw her on her own show, it was like, oh, they were really like clamping her down on Top Model because once she got on her own show, boy, she was wicked on there. She was calling the girls fat. She told a girl she's calling girls ugly. She's telling people they need nose jobs. She's going crazy. And it's like, you got to remember, most of these models are like in their early 20s, they're still kids essentially. So it's
Mhm.
like, you're telling an 18-year-old girl, like, yeah, if you get those breasts done, you could really be popping. And it's like, Jesus Christ, like, she is still a girl. And it's like, but it's like, I get it, you're there to make money. And I think Janice Dickinson, even though it's kind of cringy to watch, that character had to be a woman. If that character was a man, oh my God, people would hate that person. But it's like she's someone who, depending on your age, you know her as a supermodel. But if you didn't know who she was and you just heard her talking, like who the fuck is this? And what is she talking about? And why is she so rude? Because you just don't really hear people that blunt anymore. Like that was probably really jarring for people to hear, because people aren't there's a lot of microaggressions now. But back in the day, people would tell you, hey man, your nose is really big, or hey, you're a little too black, or hey, you gotta fix that gap in your mouth if you really want to do this. Like people would just come out and tell you what they thought your general flaws were. Like, hey, you're kind of stupid, but you're really attractive. Like, thank you. Like that's just how people are just much more aggressive in that way. And you would think like, oh, it's just because it was a modeling show. No, people were just kind of like that.
Mhm.
Like you would get like some random family member who would like, oh, you kind of getting some love handles there. Thanks. Random uncle I haven't seen in like 15 years. Like, you
It's
know what I'm
always
saying?
the uncle.
Like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like that was not an unusual like happening. I remember I was with a girl and we were at like one of her family functions and like some uncle or some like random dude that she hasn't seen in years came up to her and said something like that. It was like, fuck is this? And it was just kind of like the way people talk to women has changed dramatically. And the way that you talk about women's bodies have changed dramatically. Like even like a lot of the times if you have these thoughts, just keep it to yourself. Because it's like, yeah, back in the day, oh yeah, you could be called there was all different kind of names they would call you. Husky, and you didn't even have listen, when they're talking on that show, they were talking in the documentary and I remember the one black girl. They were talking about how fat she was and this and that. And she was probably like a size 6, like and if you know
Mhm.
anything about women's sizing, a size 6 is really small. Like if a woman walked in with it and she had a size 6, you would be like, man, that girl is kind of thin. You wouldn't think like, damn, look at that tubby woman over there, you know? But it's just kind of like, even like the lady on the show who was brought on the show to be a plus size model, she was like a size 8. It's like, a size 8 in women's is not a big size. So to be a considered a plus size model at a size 8 is crazy.
Mhm.
But that's just how it was. Like, I don't know what they would consider to be a plus size model now. Probably closer to like a 14, 12, something like I don't really know. But it wouldn't be the women that they considered to be plus size models back then,
Mhm.
for
For
sure.
sure. Yeah.
And there was a lot of that. They just seemed like there was a lot of like kind of body shaming in the docs when they showed a lot of the ladies and just even like behind the scenes and most of the time on camera. But that's just kind of how it was in reality shows back then. It was just kind of like you always had the one person who was just a dickhead. Like when you watch an American Idol, there is always Simon. He's always a dickhead. Even if he like likes what you're doing, he's gonna kind of still be a dickhead about it.
Well, and
Like
that's
that
the
was
thing with
good, I
TV back then
guess.
too. It's like that's what people they wanted, like the
Yeah.
because some people were thinking and they're like, we just need someone to say it, and then they get the bad guy and he'll say it, and
Yeah.
then
Oh
it's like,
yeah.
see, it's like that's just how it was.
Oh yeah. For sure. Like even like Gordon Ramsay. Like a lot of
Hmm.
people didn't know who Gordon Ramsay was until you seen him on that reality show where he's just yelling at people. You call this a fish dish, you bitch. And it's like in any other circumstance, that person's gonna probably get fired.
Hmm.
Like you can't like even I've worked in kitchens. People don't really speak like that to people in kitchens. Like it just doesn't work like that because people are quite aggressive themselves. So if you're throwing shit at me and you're yelling, it's like I'm gonna fight you, friend. If you throw one more fucking
Champagne
plate at
bottle.
me, give me my champagne bottle like Diddy. I'm gonna hit you with the champagne bottle, friend. You're not gonna yell at me like get the fuck out of here. But that's reality TV shows. It has to be in a way, I guess, entertaining to people. So there's always going to be these people who amp it up for TV. Like
Absolutely.
Tyra definitely amped it up for TV for sure. You want to talk about somebody who did not come off well in this particular documentary? Boy, Tyler Banks looks like a dickhead in this. That's why I know she didn't produce it. She came off like a dickhead in this documentary. It's just kind of like, oh my God. She like every like wrong thing that you could have said, she definitely said in it.
Get
It was like, oh wow. It was like, yeah. And she did a lot of like I don't know what happened. Oh, okay. You got to do that
It's
move.
like
All
back
right.
then, it's like you don't think about it. And I mean,
Yeah.
she probably hasn't thought about most of those moments
Yeah, for sure.
since what, 2002?
Yeah.
She's like, why am I talking about this? Yeah, I did it. It's fine. It was fine.
Yeah. It happened. What do you want me to do about it? Yeah,
Right.
she came off as kind of a dickhead. And it's just kind of like even like all the three guys and they got fired from the show and she's just kind of like, hey, like yikes. There was a lot of moments I said when Tyler Banks was talking where it's like, I'm pretty sure she's just lying. And it's just kind of like, wait till you see what we do next with Top Model. I think Top Model's pretty much cooked at this point. I don't think anybody wants to see a new season of that with Tyra Banks,
I don't even think
especially
they would
after
be
the
able to
doc.
get away with anything.
Yeah,
Like
I
the
don't
things they
know.
would want to do, they'd be like, you can't do that. You can't say that. You can't wear that. There's just so
Yeah,
much that.
it's just a different climate,
Hmm.
and I don't know what you would do, like what you can do, which hasn't already been done. They did everything, and it's just kind of like, especially
And
if like the guys from the original aren't gonna be on it, it's just kind of like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna watch that because I do
hmm.
remember checking out an episode once when they were already gone off the show and it just wasn't as good, you know. Miss J, shout out to Miss J, Jay Emanuel, Nigel Barker. They were like my favorite part of the show. All those three guys. So when they left, it was just kind of like, oh, okay. I remember tuning in because they did like one. It was like, we're gonna do a whole season dedicated to women under 5'7". Who's this for? Like, what is this? I guess, like, are you short and attractive? Come on, top model. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, all right, like under 5'7", very specific. I feel like that describes most women in
Us
America.
short people need love too.
Yeah, yeah. It's like like I think a lot of times it's like you forget when you're talking and creating these things. Like a 5'7" woman is actually pretty tall. Like if a
Mhm.
woman walked in and she was 5'7" or taller, that's a decently tall woman. Most women are kind of short. So it's like to walk in a room and most of the women are like under 5'7" is like pretty much every room you walk in. If you
Mhm.
walked in and there were a bunch of women who were taller than 5'7", you would be like, man, there's a lot of tall women in here. It would be
Mhm.
unusual. Like, what is this? What is this, top model?
Right.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be unusual. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was a good documentary for sure. I learned a lot about, you know, Tyra and how she's kind of a dickhead, and I learned about, they didn't get everyone from the show. I don't think Janice Dickinson is gonna do anything with Top Model. I think they just kind of like, yeah, she was on the show. She was there. But they didn't, she was a big part of the show and they barely talked about her in the whole
Mhm.
documentary. It was like, yeah, she was there. She was a dickhead. Just when you see some people like on reality shows, you're always kind of wondering, okay, are you just a dickhead or is this your actual personality? It sounds like that was her actual personality. It was like, oh, you're just like that. All right, okay. And she just made a lot of like just looks of disgust when like a size 6 would come in, like, oh. And she wouldn't even like kind of like bullshit with it. She would like, oh, like she was disgusted. Like, okay. Yeah, but yeah,
Those
the
are different.
panel, to see the judges were cool because I haven't
Mhm.
seen some of them in a while.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool to see J and J. You know, I thought it was really cool at the time to see them on TV as well because you talk about how different the times are and were to see a very gay black man and a very gay I think he's like South African, Jay Manuel, something like that. But you
Yeah.
didn't really see a lot of like gay men on TV at that time in like the late 90s and all that. Like there was Will and Grace, and
And
that
that
was
was
about it.
scandalous back in the day.
Oh, for
Like,
sure. Listen, when Ellen came out of the closet, her TV show got canceled.
mhm.
Like people was like, nah. So to see like gay people on TV really representing like that was not usual. It's it's very common now that it's just kind of like, oh, that character's gay. It's like, but at the time, especially even in reality TV shows, it was like there were gay people, but a lot of times they would say like they would talk about, you know, their partners, but they would never show it. So I do remember the one Ebony character from she was on like the first season, maybe the second season. That was the one with the really short hair. And I do remember that episode with her girlfriend. And I do remember the episode when they were trying to cut her hair. I thought that was just kind of like, you don't really know what that's like, probably, to go somewhere and people kind of look at your skin and look at your hair and they're just kind of like, yeah, I don't know what to do with that. So they don't even like, they just kind of look like, eh. You see, it's not a huge deal now, right? Because you got people are trained to do like all different type of hair and
Mhm.
like makeup. But at the time, yeah, it was like, eh, I don't know what to do with that. that you would like be sometimes you would have to go all the way into the city just to get a haircut, just because there was no one around who could cut your hair, or you would have to hope that like someone you knew personally cut hair. You got a lot more barbershops now and different things like that, but it was tough living out here for a while, man, trying to get if you live in an area where it's predominantly white people, it's just kind of like you're just kind of out of luck. You just kind of they just look at you like like I used to perform like on stages and stuff, and when it came to doing my makeup, they would look like or they would try to put like the same makeup on me as they put on white people, and it's like, yeah, that's not gonna work, friend. If you put
Mhm.
that on me, it's just gonna make me look like an ashy black person.
Well, and even another shout out to a previous episode, even when you tried to go into that tattoo shop, it's like
Oh yeah, yeah,
that was kind
yeah.
of like more recent too, where it's just like,
Yeah, for sure. They look like, yeah, like, oh shit.
mhm,
Yeah, it's always a little tough and there's just different standards of beauty, essentially, that this still exists when it comes to like skin color and stuff like that. And they hit on it a little bit in this doc, but not as much as they probably should have. Because it's like what is considered to be like beauty or beautiful was very narrow at the time. So even when they were talking about like hiring Niall, the photographer guy, it's like we need somebody who's handsome, straight, and white. It's like that's very specific.
mhm,
Because it's like who considers what's handsome? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so he's handsome because he's white. I guess it's like because if you go back and you think about like remember the People magazine when they used to do like the sexiest man alive
mhm.
thing? Most of the time it was white guys, like almost probably 90% of the time. I think Denzel Washington was down there like back in the day, but for the most part it would be like it would be white guys, and it would be white guys who looked exactly the same sometimes. And it'd be like, well, he looks just like that guy. They're not more attractive than me, they're just whiter than me. And it was just, there's just kind of like there is a thing when it comes to beauty standards when it comes to skin color.
Mhm.
Like it's funny, like I never really got teased when I was a kid, but the only thing I used to really get teased about is the color of my skin. Oh man. And it's like I used to be so confused because like when you're a kid and like before you get to school, like you don't really know certain things about yourself until you get to school, and it's like, wait,
Mhm.
what? Like no one ever made fun of my skin color before. And I went before I moved to the suburbs, I went to an all black school. So it's like no one ever really like I never heard like black jokes about myself. So it was really shocking. I just remember like, oh, someone was like, oh, we got a new dark skinned kid, and I'm looking around like, man, who the hell are they talking about? It's like
Yeah.
they're talking about you. Who, me? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like you're like a half a shade lighter than me, you bitch. I just couldn't believe it. It was just like really shocking. But
Mhm.
I think it's opening up more. And they talked about that in the doc about like what's considered to be attractive now. There's like, because we're all going to have different opinions on what is attractive and what is not attractive. Just
Mhm.
because you think it's sexy, it doesn't mean I think it's sexy. And it's like, what's a beautiful model look like? Not all, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, not everyone has to be like a size two or a size four. You could be a little bit bigger and still get it done. Like, are you good? Because at the end of the day, modeling is a job. Are you good at the job? Yes or no? And that should be enough. But sometimes it's like, you gotta drop. Because Janice Dickinson made like one of the worst remarks I remember. Because I remember the episode when she said it. She was talking about Takara Williams, who is a plus size model. And she said she would be perfect if she lost 150 pounds. And it was like, she's if she lost 150 pounds, she would be like 30 pounds. Like, what are you actually saying? You're talking crazy right now. But he represented the people who thought like that at the time. And unfortunately, there were a lot of people who thought like that and who still think like that. You
Hmm.
know, if you
Well, even
don't
one of the
think,
designers said, "You're so thin, it's so easy to dress you." And it's like, I think that's kind of where that came in, where it's just like,
yeah.
I don't want to have to work around more than I have to.
Oh yeah.
And like,
Yeah, there was the one lady, yeah, they showed in the documentary. It's like you
mhm,
knew that was just you were just being a dickhead, right? Because you knew she was gonna be there. And it was like, oh, we don't have any clothes that fit you. Bitch, you knew I was gonna be here, and you know that I'm bigger than them. You should, this is more a reflection on you and not me. So something like that would never happen today because people would go and find this lady and trash her online and trash her business, because that's
mhm,
what they do. Because it's like, well, you're just being unprofessional at this point. Like you knew she was gonna be there, and it's like, oh, you're saying that you didn't lose 15 pounds from yesterday? And just the like, oh, you're so fat. I gotta get like extra fabric for you. It's like, what is this? It's just, but that's how people spoke. It was like very direct, very blunt, and very rude. And it would just be like, and that's just unfortunately, and you still have people who speak like that, who talk like that, you
well,
know?
it's just easier to find. And I think social media has a big part of it too, where it's just
Oh,
like
for sure.
now it gets out and people are like, "How dare you say that?" It's like,
Oh, for sure.
I've said a
But if
lot
you,
of things you just don't know about, you know?
yeah, for
And I
sure.
always think that not that I did anything like bad, but like I'm so glad cell phones and social media wasn't big when I was in school because it's like I don't want that on the internet.
Oh, for sure. I said a
It's
lot of
easier to
questionable things in
find.
the past. I've said my share of things that were not great. So I'm glad like social media wasn't really popping like that
Yeah.
because I would have had to go back and erase a lot of things.
Right.
Like, geez, especially once I started drinking. And now you're talking about drunk me and tweeting. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember I had
If
to.
social media wasn't a thing, I think we'd still
Yeah.
have shows like that and
Oh, for
be the
sure.
same.
Because now it's like it's so much easier to kind of post your outrage.
Hmm.
Before you had to like put it on like you had to send letters to like the stations and stuff like that. Now you just send a tweet and or whatever and you just tag someone in it, and so it's you gotta be careful what you're saying out here. You can't just say whatever you want.
Yeah.
People are always like, "Oh man, the cancel culture, you can't say what you want." Well, you should have never been saying those things. You know what I'm saying? Like because they talked about it in the show. Like, yeah, you're calling someone fat and all this, and you're breaking them down essentially, and you're trying to make them look bad. And it's like it's hurting their feelings. Like they might not say anything at the time, but it's like, yeah, you made me feel like I was a piece of shit. So it's like, well, you didn't say anything at the time. Well, maybe I didn't feel like saying anything at the time. But it's like, you can't just say what you want to people. Like, oh
Still
man, you
need a
can't
filter.
say anything. We're all adults, we're all grown people. Like, you should be able to filter yourself a little bit. You can't just say whatever you want. And I think that people, if you don't think people are rude as shit and all that, just look at any kind of female influencer or fitness influencer or model or content creator and look at their comment section. And I will guarantee you that the creeps and the weirdos are on the internet. And sometimes it's women like saying crazy stuff to other women. Like they're in the comment sections. You just don't see them. You know what I'm saying? They're in there like, oh girl, you would be so much prettier if you lost 10 pounds. Well, thank you for your advice, bitch. I didn't ask for. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of that. Like, she probably got a BBL. Like she there's a lot of that. Like There's a lot of that in the comment section, and not just for women, but men too. It's like you'll post a selfie of yourself and like some random dude. Look at those skinny legs. Who are you, bitch? Let me see your legs. Because it's never like someone like, it'll be like people with like the weird filter or someone like not showing their face, like, ah, skipping leg day, bro. I guess, bro. Like, shut up, bitch. That's the comment section is like the most toxic place in most social media for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So if a show like Top Model now did exist, the comment section would be wicked. Social media and just comment sections are the reason why something like
Yeah,
Top Model cannot exist. And you got to leave certain
100%.
things where they're at and leave it in the past. And it is, if you want to watch it, just watch the reruns.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you
Yeah,
have to take it for what it was when it
yeah.
came out too.
Mm. People have a hard time doing that.
Yeah, they do. But that's why we're getting documentaries now. So
Indeed.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Good
probably close to
topic.
my
We got,
bedtime anyway.
yeah, right. Got deep. It's that after hours. Got
Mm.
deep, got real. Good chat. You never know what you're
Yeah.
gonna get on the pod. You gotta get knee deep in the
No.
pod.
Keep knee deep in the pod, man. Quit messing around.
All right. Well, if you watched any of the documentaries, let us know what you thought. Were you outraged? Were you like, yeah, I watched that and yeah. I think it
Hmm.
depends your age and I don't know. Times are different. That's just
Hmm.
all it is. So,
For sure, Ski.
yeah. Well, thank you for tuning in. We're going to start releasing 2 episodes a week now. So, this is kind of our beginning to post more. We're everywhere, making it happen. Big
That's
things.
right. YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook. We're working on our TikTok so you can watch Jenny do all the TikTok dances, you know what I'm
Not
saying?
going to happen.
Jenny the Stallion, do all the TikTok dances. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a good nickname for sure. You should run with that.
On that note, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep it weird, everybody. Thanks for
Yeah,
the good chat.
later.
Bye.